I like that. That's a really nice car. I haven't found much that's wrong with it. Okay, what are we doing now? We've done that, We sold the milk. The dude is out in the field doing the hay. So we're good there. He's getting on quite well. I think the tedding goes quite quickly. I'll probably send him out again with the Vermeer to do the thing. The rows, rake the rows, and then we'll figure out something else. So 36 and 19 are available. 19 is down there. 36 is, good grief, there. I kind of like that plan. $36 and 19. We could do both of those. We could possibly even do 27. They're the good paying ones. So I think do that one. 27, 19. I will go over here and get some liquid fertilizer delivered. 5,000 litres will be fine. And still, we've got 57,000, so oh, yes, yeah, that will cause issues. Ours is the 2016, so it has the bigger engine which doesn't have a turbo, hence a little bit anemic on power, but it does what we need it to do. So I'm okay with it. And that's full. So again, I don't really need 5,000 litres of liquid fertilizer. I don't know how much more fertilization contracts we will do over the summer. One thing I've got to be aware of is there is a bug with harvesting contracts. Now the deal is, if you complete a harvesting contract, save the game, exit and reload, the harvesting contract will be lost. If you're really, really fast, you can claim the payment for it. But do not leave a completed harvesting contract when you exit the game. It will be lost. And the problem I had when I discovered this was I'd done 2 harvesting contracts. I'd borrowed the equipment for one. That was the field I finished first. And so the contract disappeared, the equipment disappeared, and the equipment was full of product for the second contract. So bad deal. I lost a lot of money on that pair of contracts. So you have to do the contracts as soon as you complete a harvesting contract. You have to claim the payment for it. That's step 1. Step 2, if you're borrowing equipment for a harvesting contract, I would suggest you do equipment that can do all of the crops you're doing. So for example, do a harvesting contract for wheat, another one for soy, another one for oats, and make sure that let's say you borrow the equipment for the soybean contract, that you make sure you complete the wheat and the oat contracts first and then do the soybean contract last. So you will always keep the equipment between saves and exits until you've completed all of them. But also make sure that if you have to exit the game, that you make sure you claim payment for the contracts you have completed. Or do it with your own equipment. Hopefully, that will be a thing for us this year. The plan is hopefully to be able to afford a harvester by the time our fields are ready to harvest. It might not be a big one, but so long as we have one, I can then do a number of contracts and just do it with my equipment. So I know as soon as I complete a contract, I can just claim it and it's done, and I don't lose the equipment on it. And it's only harvesting contracts, it's not any of the other contracts. That's not too bad. I did have a colleague I worked with who was stupidly frugal with her vehicle maintenance, and she blew the head gasket, so she had them weld the top of the engine to the bottom of the engine, and then she had other issues inside the engine, and because she'd had them weld the engine together, the two halves of the engine together, it ended up costing her a whole lot more money to fix than it would have if she'd just replaced the head gasket when that blew. I generally think it's a good idea to do things properly when it comes to cars, because if you do, they will last you forever. My current Saab is, what is it, 10 years old, getting on for 12 years old now, maybe 13. And it's still running perfectly. There's nothing wrong with it. Except someone put a do-it-yourself CD in the CD player and it got jammed, and the radio doesn't realise there's a CD in it, so it won't eject, and I can't use the CD player anymore. But 13-year-old, it has a CD player, and I'm not sure I can actually fit a modern radio in the car that does all the Bluetooth or the USB plugs and everything else, so you can plug in a media player. Yeah, but it's fun to drive, so I'm sticking with it. Okay. That's the first pass. What I'm going to do, oops, I'm going to jump out. No, I'm going to drive. Let's see, Control S. Heading that way, 90, set cardinal, back out. Turn on the GPS. Let's do this a little bit more efficiently. I don't know if overspray is catered for on contract fields, so I generally consider it's probably wise to assume that overspray is not a protected thing, so you kind of need to make sure that you're not overspraying when you don't have to. So turning around on the headlands, the sprayer nozzles don't turn off. I should probably turn them off when I'm doing the turnaround. I have 4 fields flashing. What is the deal? Oh, we didn't get paid for that one. Suppose I could claim more money. Cover the cost of fertilizer on these fields. But in order to do this properly, I should, drop cruise down to about 15 kilometers. And when we get to the end, I'll start the turn, we'll turn the nozzles off, and the tractor will not run away from us. Wow, that looked like it worked, so that's a good thing. Okay, so we have fewer flashing fields. Oh, I was just watching Millennial Farmer this morning. He was setting up his honeybee, 45-foot honeybee header on his brand new, or he's new to him. Is it 670S that he has? He's now got 2 of them. But he got the honeybee header for it, 45 foot, to do the beans with, and he had the dude round this week to set it all up. And while they were configuring, they discovered that one of the sensors in the harvester wasn't working properly, so setup dude's going to come back in a couple of weeks, or in next week, to finish that off. But the header he has, it doesn't have a header trailer. It has a front wheel and a back wheel, or sort of, yeah. It basically, the turning wheel at the front is 2 wheels very close together on a sort of a connection frame, and then there's sort of a dolly at the back that you clamp to the bottom of the header, and you plug them both into the header, the electrics for both into the header, so the header has pass-through electrics for its transport thing, and that's kind of cool. And he's quite happy because it does mean that he doesn't have a 40-foot header trailer to park up somewhere while he's doing the harvesting. That's how the mod is. Yeah, I must admit, I guess that's one of the issues I had with the Grimmer potato harvesters, and I don't know that I loaded them in here. No, I didn't bother. But there's one that tops and rows the potatoes up straight out the back. There's one that just drops the potatoes out the back, and you need to make sure you've topped the potatoes before you run that one. And there's another one that drops the potatoes out the side. So by doing 2 rows, you get a double height windrow on one side. And the problem is the windrow of potatoes is dropped where it hasn't yet harvested the crop. So that is intensely annoying, because you use that, you're always going to end up with a row of potatoes that wasn't harvested. And a row of potatoes is a lot of litres of potatoes. And it's just the sort of, this would be so good if it worked as intended. And I have found fair amount of equipment in my time playing Farm Sim since 17 where it's sort of, this would be nice, but it's just a little bit of a pain to use. and typically I'll try it out and then drop it from the save, because I'm playing this to have fun. I'm not playing this to be frustrated by a piece of equipment that I can use something else for to do the same job. But I'll try. If something takes my fancy, I'll take a look at it and maybe make use of it. And that's the contract finished. So we'll claim these as we go. So 27 and 36. Who's closest? 36 is on the way home. 27. Oh, is more on the way home. So if I go back up there, we can cut across there. We'll do 36. Then we'll do 27, then we'll go home. Seems like a plan. How are we doing? 10:25. We can turn off the GPS system. And some of the corn headers which fold out, I kind of like, because I could get into a field, especially on a map like this. You can get into the field, unfold the header, and just start. And sometimes this field's actually not too bad. You could position a header trailer here and allow the harvester to get to. But some fields are just so tight of an entrance. It kind of makes sense to have a very small harvester with a very small header, just so that you can get into a field and get your bigger harvesting equipment in there. Again, this field not bad. I think the field to our left on the other side of the hedge there, and this potato field, there's just not enough room to get the harvester and the header in and just maneuver everything. Because if you've got a wide header, you've got to position the header middle here so you can pick it up with the harvester, but then you don't have a lot of room up there to fit the towing vehicle. Okay, I think we have to go into the yard for this one. Oh, maybe not. I think there's access through the forest. Again, another forest. I was a little bit disappointed to discover that the forest along the top edge of this map is not owned by the fields. There, I'm so used to map designers. I'll show you. They would have this field and this portion of the forest are all part of that plot of ground. But in this case, you get the field and the forest is all of that. So you buy the forest completely separate from the fields. Kind of not used to that. Or it's not as common as the sell you all of the stuff. But again, some people just don't want the forestry area. So the fact that they don't have to pay for it, they don't get it. When you're buying the field, you're buying the field, and that's all you're buying. Should I have done a headland? Probably. Okay. soon as I get to the top, we'll do a clockwise thing. And then continue with the rows. Already 10% complete. I wonder how the tedder's getting on. I mean, really what I'm doing here is I'm filling time. As soon as the tedding's done, I will set the Massey off raking the grass into rows. And I kind of want to follow up with the baler at that point. The problem is with doing that is you do have issues. A worker windrowing will not windrow to the edge of the field. That's your first issue. So what you end up having to do is stop the baling so that you can finish off the windrowing. And then sometimes it's just easier to go out and collect some of the bales before you finish the windrowing, tidy up the windrowing. So it's kind of a complicated thing. What usually ends up happening is once the rowing is complete, I can switch the Massey Ferguson onto the baler and collect bales with this as needed to so it's sort of a stop-start switch tractors, because workers don't do baling and they don't do this map. I've kind of found workers unreliable on transport, so I have to do carting, I have to do shipping stuff to the sell points, because the sell points aren't drive-throughs. They're generally tucked into the corner, so your only option is to just do it yourself. I can do it as a follow me. Get a couple of vehicles loaded and then run follow me, so we drive them all to the delivery point and then we unload them manually one at a time. Oh, that reminds me. So the flower's all complete. We completed the flower. I think we did the last of the flower last month. I think that was about 80,000 litres of barley. And we loaded that into the flour mill in December, and it got done April. So we do have, we've got flour mill capacity for the limited future, but I'm guessing we are probably going to exceed the capabilities of the flour mill at some point. This year we have canola, which will just direct sell. We have sorghum, which I'm probably going to run through the flour mill this year. I'm not planning on pigs immediately. We're gonna work the cows for a couple of years, and then make a final call on Maize Plus, because Maize Plus changes the feeding for both cows and pigs. The plan would be to just hold off getting pigs until we've made that decision. If I decide not to go Maize Plus, then we go with pigs as is. if I do decide to add Maves Plus, then there's things to figure out. And you can mix your own pig food by putting the components into a mixer, which means we might need to get a food mixer for the farm. We don't have one at the moment. We're kind of relying on the robot to feed our cows, and I'm guessing so long as we stay below 70 cows, the robot will be absolutely fine for that. But at some point, if we do go too high, too many cows, or if the robot, or if we find the robot isn't quite sufficient, a big food mixer can be used to supplement the robot capabilities. So we'll juggle that when it comes up. And then again, if we can use the feeder to mix up pig food as well, then hey, it's a double use piece of equipment. Yay. We got the bale shredder, so we can put straw in with the pigs as well when we have some. Don't have any straw producing crops this year, although I do have a plan to buy, I think it's field 55, which we planted with wheat on behalf of the farmer that owns that field. So I could buy it and harvest that wheat as well, which gives us more stuff for the flour mill. And the field we're currently contracting for hay, that's our other wish list purchase, but that's about 120,000, so probably not going to be purchased for this year unless I do a bunch of grass contracts again, or silage contracts, or we make a ton from silage, because we've been doing that too. I think our silage production is somewhere in the region of 70-ish thousand pound sale a year. So, cut. So we get a lot of money for that. But again, it's new equipment, used equipment. We need some good equipment for the farm, and so the more I can diversify or improve the equipment on the farm, the better things will be. So, as I already said, we need a harvester. We need above 300